Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Christelle Rinn, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at HRLocker. For today's webinar, we'll be going through a new product update that we have. And that update has been applied to the review section within HRLocker. As always, I have Jenny with me today. She's manning the questions and answers section. So if anybody has any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A section, and I'll get to as many questions as possible. And if not, somebody will reach out to you from the team to get through the questions. Also, the webinar will be recorded and sent out to everybody, usually by the end of the day, in case anybody has to knock off early. So you'll get that link later on. Today's webinar, I'm really going to go through the review structure. How do we actually set up the templates within the new review section? What kind of different templates can be set up as well? And I suppose this update came from us talking to a lot of our customers in regards to that from a review section, from the review side of things, is that reviews really need to start from the day that your employee starts within your company, right down to when they exit the company. So there's different templates, there's different formats that are required for each stage of that. For example, through your onboarding stage, to your probation, to your monthly catch-ups or quarterly catch-ups or end of year, right down to that exit interview as well. So we're going to go through how each template can be set up and each template can be customized. The biggest feedback we got as well from people is that in terms of company culture, company behaviors, company language, everybody has their own internal language that people use. So we've tried to make the templates as customizable as possible. A good example is that some people use the term KPI, some people use goals, some people use OKRs, some people use objectives. We don't mind which word you use. We try to make it as customizable as possible. I would also say that if you have some current templates that you're currently using within your performance management side of things, or even if you're just thinking about putting them in, feel free to set them up yourself. But if you need that extra help, reach out to somebody in the support team or myself afterwards. We'll be happy to schedule a call with you just to go through that initial setup. And kind of give you any advice or any pointers, things like that. We're always happy to speak to people. I suppose for my own personal side of things is the reviews or appraisals or your whatever way you want performance management. I would be a huge advocate of kind of getting rid of that annual appraisal, just that once a year appraisal, and really moving towards kind of like that monthly check-in, that quarterly check-in with employees. And really kind of focusing on that continuous improvement, that continuous check-in, rather than having a big bang approach at the end of the year where you go through all the things that the person did over the last 12 months and you're addressing issues that happened 9 or 10 months ago. That may not be relevant, or they may have been dealt with, rather than having continuously checked in the whole time. I'm also, I suppose, before I go into the template side of things, I'm also just a huge advocate in regards to, from a HR perspective, is that we need to be measuring people's key performance indicators. We need to be measuring people's behavior in the company, to make sure that the employee experience is unified throughout the company, that your culture is unified around that continuous improvement, around the employee experience, the employee culture of learning. And I think reviews is a really good way to start. That is my kind of blurb done for the beginning. So I'm just going to switch over here to the next screen over here. For those people who are using reviews, you may have seen some updates throughout the system. And I'll just go through some of them. So obviously on the black ribbon here, we have the review section. And this is tended to be kind of what you've been used to so far. There's been some improvements here in regards to reactiveness and kind of ease of use and smoothness. So the first thing, I suppose, if we log in here, and this is the very first time that you've used reviews, you'll see that everybody's name is listed here on the side. You'll click into the person and you'll see the different types of reviews here that have been listed against this person over here. The template that I've built here, but I'm going to show everybody how to do this, is the probation template here. I've scheduled it to happen on November 30th. And you see here, I've been able to create a number of different check-ins for month 1, check-in for month 3, month 5, the final probation check-in, any management update as well. So they're just different tabs that you can go in. And I've set it as well that there's the manager input and the employee input as well. One of the nice little new features that we put in is this little collapsible side here that, you know, if you need to see all the employees and the office and the department, see any of the incomplete reviews, you can open that sidebar there to be able to have a bigger overview. But if you're kind of in the reviews, actually, you know, using it on a day-to-day perspective, filling in that review, you can just collapse it here. So you've got a bigger space to work on as well. So the settings we're going to go into, so I'll come back to this section, but I'm going to go into the actual setup now. So if we go to the settings here on the black ribbon, you'll see here on the left-hand side, there's a new section here called reviews. For those of you who are admins in the system, you will have access to the review section over here, the settings and reviews. For those of you who are perhaps managers in the system, you might not have access to this settings tab over here. If admins would like to give you access to this section, they need to give you permissions to see the settings, and then you will be able to see the review section over here. So if I go into the review section here, on the left-hand side, there's a number of different templates that I have created. Like here's one I created earlier, and you can also archive ones as well. So we're going to go into the probation one here that I created earlier. Okay. And you'll see here that I was able to create a number of different tabs. So I'm sure you're all aware that in terms of the actual probation legislation changing, you know, it's the right to kind of extend it past the 6 months has significantly changed. And it's kind of extreme circumstances where you can extend it past 6 months. That means it's really important that you're doing your probation check-ins, because there also has to be fair process as well, that if the person hasn't actually passed their probation at the end of that 6 months, that they actually were brought through a process that they understood, you know, that they weren't going to pass it. So I've created, I'm just going to edit it over here. So we're going to unpublish it, and then we're going to edit it. I'll just show you how I've done this. So on the left-hand side here, you'll see there's a number of different things that I can put over here that are like single line text, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, sentiments, lots of different things that I can create and customize. This tab here, I've built it that this is going to be the check-in that people are going to do on the very first month during that first probation side of things. I put in here the management input. So they're going to ask, for example, the performance evaluation. I've told the manager what I want them to do here. So assess the employee's performance against expected standards. I can decide whether I want this question to be mandatory or not mandatory. And I can put different sections all in here. Then I'd like the employee to give some feedback as well. And I've done the same thing here. I've asked the employee for a self-assessment, put in the employee's reflection on their performance challenges and achievements. And again, I can make these all mandatory or not mandatory, depending on what you'd like. So that's my very first month that I've allowed to do here. I've also created one for month 3, month 5, and then I've created the final probation check-in here as well. So the manager's input, I've also put in here a check box for has the probation been passed, yes or no? Has it been extended? If it has been extended, please give a reason. And at the end of that, you've kind of finished your probation structure or your process. The other nice thing I put in here is another tab, which is their management update. And when I added this tab, I was able to decide, did I want only management feedback? Did I want employee only feedback? Did I want joint feedback, being that it's a manager and employee tab? Or did I want performance metrics? So for this tab, I decided I only wanted manager feedback. And then I also wanted to hide it from the employee. And this is kind of like a little checkbox. I created a checklist here for the manager to do after the probation has happened, for HR, whoever is in charge of that, to be able to see what the process was through the probation. Has everything been done? What was the feedback in regards to the probation wasn't passed, or if it was passed, what was the feedback here? So I've just created this little checklist here where the management update to HR, so feedback re the probation process. Was the month 1 check-in completed? Yes or no? Was the month 3 check-in completed? Month 5 check-in completed? And was final probation passed? Again, you can do a number of different things here. So, example, if I bring over the checkbox here, you can put in your different questions here as well. Okay. So that's kind of one. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what you can actually build, but now we're going to build one from scratch. And again, if you have any questions throughout or any feedback, if you have a specific template that you'd like to do, just let me know and we can work on that as well. So what I'd like to start with is, I suppose, the employee journey in your company. So we've looked at the probation side of things. We're going to create a new review type here. We're going to call it onboarding. You see here, there's a number of different options. So we can mark it as a disciplinary. At this stage, we do not have a disciplinary, and we can only assign it to selected offices. So the onboarding, sometimes we'd only like to maybe assign it to the onboarding office if you have one. So I have one here. So that means that in the drop-down list, when you go into reviews, this onboarding checklist will only be available to people who are actually in that onboarding office, or you can assign it to all the offices if you like. I'll talk about the disciplinary side of it in a second after we build this review. Okay, so we're going to press save. You see here now I've created the onboarding template. We need to start building. Excuse me. The very first tab that I'm going to build here, we're going to call it, we'll just call it onboarding. Description, month 1 of onboarding. And this section is going to be for managers only. Okay, I'm not going to hide it from the employee. I want the employee to see it. So we're going to add it here. I'm going to click the tab here, and now you'll see I can start building it. So this is really going to be a little bit of a checkbox one that I'm going to build here. So I'm going to pull a number of checkboxes over. I might pull this single between a paragraph as well. Okay, so the very first question I want to ask here is workplace equipment. So has workspace and equipment been set up properly? Been set up? I'm going to put in a yes or a no here. And again, these are just some examples, okay? My next question, for example, might be, has orientation and training been completed? Been completed. And we're going to give a yes or a no here as well. Okay. And then we might put in, maybe the question might be any specific work, any specific equipment requested. These are just examples. Okay, and then you might just put in here to enter the placeholder. So this is kind of just informing the manager what they're supposed to do in this section. So please list any specific equipment that this employee needs. Okay, so now you'll see that that's the management section for the during the onboarding process. So then you can put in 20 questions here, and they'll just put in yes or no to make sure that that onboarding process has happened. You can also do the allow document upload. So for example, if you do have a specific, maybe you want a picture of somebody's workspace or something like that, if you're remote working, you can allow documents to be uploaded here as well. Okay, so I'm just going to save that one there. Now we're going to add another tab here, because I'd like to get the employee feedback here as well. So employee onboarding feedback, perhaps. feedback checklist. Okay, and this section here is for the employee only to fill out. Okay, so that's the next tab. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Pull some check boxes in here. And we're going to kind of ask around the same questions. So, you know, has your workspace been set up correctly? Yes or no? You're getting the idea. Your workspace been set up correctly? Yes or no? And obviously, if the person has said no, you might want to put in like a single line text here, for example, and you might say, if no, please explain, or something like that. Please let us know why your equipment has not been set up correctly. And that could be that they're waiting on something or whatever. Your equipment has not been set up correctly. Okay. Another question might be, for example, have you gone through the company behaviors? Have company behaviors been explained? Again, yes or no. Or maybe accepted or something like that. Okay. And then the next bit, maybe feedback or whatever. I think you guys are probably tired of me trying to make up things. So, okay, so you'll understand there's so we're going to do some check boxes here. We've got the onboarding here. You may want to do another tab here in regards to maybe if you're doing ISO checklists or anything like that, that you can say that the person has been allocated access to Microsoft 365, Salesforce, HubSpot, whatever it is that you're using. Okay. So once you create that onboarding template, we're going to save and we're going to publish it. And then that will be that'll be accessible then to everybody in that onboarding office. Now I'm getting a little text from Jenny here saying that there's some questions. So I'm just going to fly over here to see what questions they are, if I can answer any of them. Okay. So when will reviews be available? My HRLocker isn't loading them as well as my colleagues. So reviews is available now. If it's not loading for you, more than likely it's not turned on for you. So if you want to contact support or contact somebody in the team here, we can get that turned on for you. It is part of the professional package. So if it is available now, so if it isn't loading for you, come and talk to somebody and get it turned on for you. Can you customize the reviews and create specific templates? Yep. So I hope I've given you some example of that. You can totally customize the name of the reviews. You can customize the templates. You can create any templates you want. So, you know, from a standard perspective, if you want to look at, I've just created the onboarding template. You're going to have the probation template, monthly check-in, quarterly check-in, maybe a salary review template. You can create as many as you like and just have them completely different or the same. Hi, I'm an admin. However, I cannot see any of the updates on reviews or see the reviews tab in the settings. Is this feature launched or is it due to be launched? So if you are an admin, depending on what package you are, for example, if you're on an essential or core package, reviews is not part of that package. It's part of the professional and premium package. If you are on professional and premium, more than likely it just has not been turned on for you. So if you want to contact somebody in support to get that turned on for you. Will the employee be able to initiate any review meeting with their input first before their manager? Yep. So in terms of the, depending on what way you want to set it up, there's always, and this hasn't actually changed, there's always this in reviews, just going up to the reviews section here. If I am a regular employee, so my name here is Liz McMahon. So if I want to find myself here, so I can schedule a new review. So I can initiate that review with my manager. So I can request that review. I think that's what you're asking. So the employee at any stage can request a review with their manager. And then if you're asking, just want to clarify that if that's what you're asking, but you can also set up the review. For example, if I go into the settings here, and when you're building the template, you can create the first tab that it's the employee feedback first. So if that's the way you want to do it, that the employee initiates the meeting, and then you have the employee feedback first. So you can decide which. See here, I'm putting them arranged, or you can just decide who goes first, the employee or the manager. Okay. Can you duplicate any of these input blocks? For example, the yes, no checkbox blocks was created. It would be quicker to duplicate that and change the question. So you can't duplicate each one of these, but you can duplicate the actual templates. For example, if I've created the monthly check-in, if I've created the monthly check-in, I can click these three little lines here, and I can clone that entire section. So once you build it the first time, it's probably a little bit harder to do it, but you can duplicate then after that. Okay. How does the system notify HR of when certain actions are needed? Is this flagged in the system, or doesn't managers need to tell HR? So within the system, so it depends on specific things of what you're looking for, I suppose. But from an overall perspective, if I'm logged in as an admin, I'm in reviews. So there's the purpley pink triangle here says that there's an incomplete review. So if it says that there's a problem, within the report section as well, you can look at reports. For example, if somebody's on a weekly review, if somebody's been put on a performance improvement plan, so you can look at the review side of things. Sorry, the report side of things there as well. The review option is not working, so it's not available. It would be great to do now as we speak. Yes, if you have the little green bubble there, if you want to just ask somebody in support, and they should be able to turn that on for you. Can the reviews be completed by employees on their phones? We're a construction company, so not all sites. So actually, this is fully enabled for your phone. The only thing that I would say is that it works way better if you turn your phone around and you put it in a landscape. It works really well then for employees, so they can do it on their phone that way. Okay. Is it possible for HR to initiate the reviews for a full team without needing each individual employee to go in and schedule a review? So from a HR perspective, if you're an admin, you can come in here and schedule reviews on people's behalf. For example, if I go into Kathy here, I can schedule a review on her behalf, so you don't have to wait for the individual employee to do that as well. Can you have a form which has the goals set, example, in January, and then a box beside them in which is completed after, say, 6 months? Yes. So I'm going to spend a bit of time. We might build a KPI form after this to show how we can set those goals and set up the self-assessment in regards to that as well. Okay. Does the administrator need to monitor the review dates, or can this be done by management? So ideally, you do want management to be able to do it. So if you give your managers review admin access, they'll be able to kind of look at the dates here as well. You do want your managers to be, in control of their own reviews, making sure that things are done. That's in the ideal world. I do think there's probably always an admin or a HR person who probably has to kind of keep an overall check to see that are things being done. But absolutely, you do want your managers to be able to actually manage this process. Within the review section in HRLocker, it's important to remember that we have three distinct users. You have the employee, who's can either request a review, or obviously the review is done with them. The reviewer, which by default usually is their manager, and that person can obviously fill out the review and also schedule a review with their person. And the admin can schedule reviews on people's behalf. The admin can prompt people if they have not completed a review as well. So for example, they can come in here and prompt the employee or the manager to say, hey, you haven't completed this review. And the admin also has access to all the settings side of things as well. Okay. So I'm just I'll answer two more questions, Jenny, and then I will I'll go back. Okay. So can this function be used as an entire performance management system? We are currently using another platform alongside HRLocker. So absolutely, it should be able to be used as an entire performance management system. If you want to come and talk to us, if there's specific features that you're looking for, and we can see, can we build those templates for you? But it should be able to work there. Okay. So the other quick one here, because there was a couple of questions to see if people can, if the reviews isn't showing for you. So one, make sure that if you want to contact support to see his reviews actually turned on for you. And the other one here is just to make sure that in the directory, I'll just go into this person over here. You need to make sure that reviews is actually turned on for you at an individual level. So if you go to settings, scroll all the way down here, and you'll see that there's reviews. So enable reviews. So just have a look here in regards to your own settings. Has reviews been enabled or not? If you can click enable and put yourself maybe as the review admin, you should be able to, the review should be here. If the setting is not here for you, it means that reviews has not been enabled for your account. So just contact somebody in support and we will we'll turn that on for you. Okay. Delighted to have so many questions, which is great. And actually that I'm asked, I can only see my own review page. I'm the primary administrator. So I would say, Pauline, just have a check and see. I'd say that you're the only person that reviews has actually been enabled for. So for example, again, I'm just going to show you that if you go into the directory, choose yourself a view over here, choose settings. More than likely, you're the only person that reviews has been enabled for. So you need to enable for the rest of your team as well, or wherever else you want to have access to. Okay. Okay. So I think I've kind of got all the questions there. Jenny, just make sure I've got the questions there. So we're going back to the settings section over here. And the couple of questions there is, so the two sections I'm going to go through quickly, well, not quickly because we've loads of time, is I'm going to go through the disciplinary side of things. And also I'm going to show you how we can set up some KPIs and the goals as well, and how we can set that up over, we'll do maybe over a quarterly side of things. So I'm just going to show you here. So add the review type. I think you guys saw this when I was going through this at the beginning. So actually you see here, there is a mark as disciplinary. So if you put in here, we're going to say it's a written warning, okay? Oops. Written warning. If I mark it as disciplinary, it says remove after how many months, okay? So if we put in that this written warning is going to last on this employee's file for 6 months, tick that there. That means that after the date of the review is set, that or that this written warning is given to somebody, that it's going to last on the employee's file for 6 months. Something really important to remember though is after 6 months, it's going to be deleted off the system. So it isn't archived from a GDPR aspect, it is deleted off the system. So if you are perhaps that employee has gone into further dismissal, or there's a case happening or something like that, at that stage, you need to make sure that you're kind of downloading it or something like that. But from a GDPR aspect is that after 6 months, it's going to be removed from this person's file. So we're just going to create that one here. So there's my written warning. And you're going to create your tab. So we're going to put in written warning. The description, maybe this will stay on your file for 6 months. Okay, the tab type. So this is where you can choose again. Do you only want the manager to put in information here? You probably don't only want the employee to put in information. Maybe you want joint. So I'm going to use joint. That means that the manager has input and the employee has input. Again, you can decide on what you'd like over here. Okay, so we're going to perhaps put in a paragraph here. Please outline reason for written warning update. Please enter, so, maybe give the manager some guidelines in here. Please be specific, dates, etc. Okay. Then if you want to put some employee feedback here, perhaps you want to just put in feedback or something like that, or acceptance or whatever else you'd like to maybe ask the employee. Okay. And you can just save that then. Okay. And you can publish it, and that'll go to all the different offices if that's what you have checked. Okay. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Apologies. Written warning. Very well. And you can publish it. Now it's available to all the different offices that are there. So any person can use that. Okay. I'm just going to go to another question there that I think is relevant. Hello, can you allow other managers to have access to look at employees' reviews, i.e. my manager able to see my direct reports? So yes, this is in the settings section here as well. So if I go to the directory here, we're going to go back to Adam's here in the settings. So if this is the manager that you want to be able to allow to see other people's reviews, you're going to say read only access to selected reviews. So you're going to decide who maybe you want them to see an entire office, or maybe it's just specific people that you want them to see. So you can select individual people that you want them to have read-only access. So even though that they're not doing the actual review, they're still able to see them. And you'll just save and submit that there. And then he's able to see those review types, those reviews for people. Okay. Okay. Can you bulk enable via an office? I'm not really sure what that means. So when you're creating a review, it enables it for everybody. So when I'm creating a review type here, for example, I'm just going to, I can either assign it to selected offices, which means it's enabled for all the offices, or if I don't select that, it's enabled for the whole company. So you can bulk assign it, I think is what you're asking there. Okay, so we're going to now look at the KPI question that I got in regards to setting the KPIs and doing the drop downs of percentages. So we're going to add the review type, and we're going to call a KPI setting. Okay. I'm going to assign it to all the offices, so I don't need to tick the box, and it's not a disciplinary. So press save. There's my KPI setting one here. And now I need to start creating the different tabs. So the very first tab, I'm going to create KPIs for Q1, for example. Okay. Okay, we'll just call it KPIs, and then I might just put in for Q1 over here. Okay. For this tab, I perhaps, because you said you wanted to self-assess, isn't it? So we're going to put employee only here. Okay. And we're going to start pulling over the, let's do the drop down. Okay. I'm going to do 3 KPIs. Okay. So for example, our question for this is going to be, let's say, increase the website traffic by 20%. That's the first KPI. Obviously, this is for a marketing person. The next one might be increase LinkedIn impressions by 20%. Oopsie. Okay. And we're going to do publish weekly blog. Okay. So we've got 3 different types here. And we are going to do a percentage complete here first. Okay. So option 1, we're going to say is 25% complete. Option 2, we're going to say is 50% complete. Option 3 is 75%. Now, obviously, you can call these whatever you want to call them. I'm just giving you an example here. And 100% obviously being totally complete. So increase linked impressions by 20%. So again, we're going to do the 25% here. 50%. I'll do 75 and 100. And 100% complete. See, not 10%. Okay, so that goes into the drop down. And then what I wanted to show you here is the publish weekly blog. This is either a yes or a no answer. All right, so we're going to just say yes, well, achieved or unachieved. So we'll just say yes or no, okay? Okay, so you can publish that to the employee. and the employee is able to self-rate themselves then. Okay. You can also perhaps bring down a single line text under here, and you can give update or feedback or something like that. Give progress feedback, perhaps. Give progress update. So that, if this is going to be assigned, which I think it works nicely if you sign this for the entire quarter, it's nice for the employee to be coming here every single month and update it. They can give you some progress update to say, haven't reached the 20%, but have successfully reached 5%. They can put in their feedback saying, I don't think I'm going to hit this 20%. I think I'm only going to hit 10%, things like that. And that's where I think it's important that from a KPI perspective, when you're setting the KPIs, both from a management perspective and from a HR perspective, that you want to know if the KPIs aren't going to be hit, and you need to know kind of straight away. So for example, if we look at that, this is perhaps, we can do month 1, month 2, month 3, for example. You can give progress update for month 1. You can say, on target, not on target, whatever it is. Month 2, behind, the reason why. Month 3, so at least in month 2 that things aren't going to be hit. So you can create questions like that and really just bring the employee through that process to make sure that they're being open and honest, that are they going to hit the KPI or the objective or not, which I think is that's important part of it. So the next question here, which I think is relevant to this as well, is how do you make the KPI specific? A senior member of the team would have higher targets, etc., due to experience. So you just create a template specifically for that. You can create a template, or you can create, you can either create specific templates for specific departments, or you can create just kind of a generic one, for example. I'm going to save this first, actually. Okay. I'm going to delete these ones quickly. Okay. So, for example, you can call this one KPI generic, for example. Okay. And you can build it out to be a generic. So KPI setting for Q1. Okay. And perhaps it's going to be joint. Okay. Well, we'll do it actually. We'll do manager only. Okay. So we're going to go back to the tab here. So you can create, for example, the single line text here. You can put in here saying, please list your KPIs for the year, or whatever it is, for the month. We're in a quarterly one, so for Q1. Okay, and then you can, they can enter them in here. Enter in your KPIs. Okay, so they can enter a list of them in here. You can bring in a checkbox if you want to be able to say achieved or not achieved. So you can kind of create this this checkbox for them. Oopsie. So they can list each one of their KPIs, and then you can put in whether it's 25%, 50%, whatever it is achieved, or you can get them to actually put in a physical number of what's supposed to be achieved or not, so you can compare. So you can make it quite customizable for individual people. Does the manager get notified when the employee has made comments? So yeah, if you go into the review section here. So you can see here, so you can prompt your manager and prompt employee. I also think it's really important is that even though that these are created, that a lot of the time, it shouldn't just be the manager doing it by themselves or the employee doing it by themselves. A lot of the time it's nice to do it jointly or do it together. That's how I do it here. Is I'll create a review with one of my employees, and we kind of do it together. They might go off and do something to complete it, but when the employee marks it as complete, the manager will get notification that they've completed the review. Okay. We have a goal library for staff to use to develop their goals. can this be put in? So you can. You're going to just have to build it in. So you could build it in a number of different ways. So if I go into the settings here again, into reviews, for example, we'll go to the generic side of things here. You can either create a drop-down menu. Oh, let's go in here. We'll add a new tab. For example, goal library of goals, and you might just tell them like pick relevant ones or something like that. Okay, and you might want to just have that for the employee. So you can create either just a drop-down menu. Sorry. You can create a drop-down menu and just enter in all the goals that you have there, and then they can pick which ones they want, which I think would work nicely. Okay. But yeah, lots of options. It's just a case of kind of figuring out how you currently do your reviews and figuring out how you want to set them in here. And again, we're really happy to sit down with everybody and go through everything with them. And I think before, because I've kind of gone through a lot here, and I think the kind of message that I'm trying to put across here is that there are a number of different templates that you can create here. But I would suggest that you start with going, okay, well, one, how does our review process actually work currently? Are we doing monthly check-ins or annual appraisals? Or even if you just start with that annual appraisal first, because we're at the end of the year. And then maybe look at, okay, well, what else can I bring in here? Can I bring in that onboarding process in here as well? Can I bring in that probation process in here as well? Maybe salary reviews, if you're going to be doing salary reviews kind of around this time of year as well. You can put in a template for that as well. And you can assign it out to people then as well. So I suppose before we start to sit down and start putting in a load of templates, maybe just take a step back to go, okay, well, how many actual kind of review templates do I currently use, or how many meeting templates really is what you're looking for between that employee and their manager? How many templates can there possibly be? So I think from that side of things first, if we just take a step back to go through, yes, because it's extremely customizable. You can probably do 99% of every single thing that everybody's looking for. You just have to step back, look at that template. If you have a very complicated template, I got an Excel spreadsheet from somebody the other day with 16 different tabs on it with about 20 different questions, and we can build that. It's just a case of that we have to look at it and build it for you. Well, and you could build it yourselves as well. Like, it's quite simple. You're just adding tabs, adding those questions, and bringing everything across. Okay. It is a case of just deciding what you want and then actually setting it up within the system, and making sure that you're kind of maybe introducing step by step, because there's quite a lot in it, and it's very customizable. I would certainly say if anybody has any questions in regards to their current setups, their current templates, come and talk to us, and we'll be able to talk you through it. The things that I didn't go through today is there is a performance metric side of things here. So you can create a rating scale for people as well. You can also create the manager and the employee sentiment here as well. So you can do a little check-in with people to see, in terms of employee engagement or things like that. So you can create that kind of sentiment, that little temperature check for people as well, and the performance metrics if you're using ratings or not. And that was actually one of the biggest feedbacks that we got from people, was that the ratings were too stringent and that the ratings had to go on all the templates or none of the templates. So this way, now that you can maybe, if you're using ratings, you might only use them towards the end of the year rather than throughout. And actually, I'm just going to show you this guy over here, because another one, I'm just going to actually show you this performance metrics because it's a question there, and I will just going to answer it for you. Okay, so you see the metrics tab here. So in terms of performance metrics, you can decide whatever scale you want. So you can decide if you wanted numerics, it can be a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 5, 1 to 100. Or you can decide, is it emojis? A lot of people don't like the emojis. That's your happy smiley faces. And you can say it's a 3 or 4, whatever it is you want. So really you can decide absolutely anything that you want in terms of how that metric scale works. Okay. So there was a lot of questions. I'm really hoping I'm just going to have a quick look back at the questions here to see, did I get through them all? Oh, how do you review completed templates? Sorry, completed reviews. So let me just share that again real quick. Okay, Jenny, that's sharing. Okay, so yep. So if you're an admin, you can go to the review section here. You see there's different colors here. So these ones are incomplete. Let me see, can I find, see a completed one will be green, and I bet you I won't find a completed one. Okay, well, let's just mark this one as complete. And you'll see here it's gone green, and if this was completed, it would all be filled out nicely. I'm just going to drop this back here, so it'll all be filled out, and all the sections would be filled out. Okay. Next question there is okay, does the manager get notified when the employee has made comments? So if the employee prompts and saves, the manager will get notified. Okay. So yeah, so I think if anybody is having trouble turning it on, come and talk to us. If you want to book a call with us to go through your template to make sure that you're setting it up properly, or even just maybe that you want to start your end of year reviews now, or your salary reviews now, and we can talk about setting those templates up, and then we can talk to you about, okay, well, what other templates do you want to set up then? It can be in over a month or two. But please, as always, I'm delighted to speak to anybody. And if there is any questions about anything, again, I'm always delighted to take a question. So hope that was helpful. Delighted to have so many questions. And if anybody wants to contact me directly, or just contact your account manager or anybody from support, we'd be delighted to help you. So thank you very much, everybody, and talk to you soon.